This Olodo Uprising that we even have right now.
Olodo Uprising?
Yeah, bro. It's terrible. I promise you. It's like we are trying so much to accommodate unintelligent people and ignorant people because we don't want them to feel bad and all these things. So now they're now like the majority. There's a massive attack on the educational system in Nigeria.
Why? YCee you leave the government and blame Peller? You have a point, but mentioning name is not clever.
The Olodo Uprising debate. Is Nigeria rewarding stupidity or just survival? See, you guys, this has to be one of the most interesting conversations I've seen on Nigerian TikTok in a very long time. It all started after a rapper, YCee, appeared on a podcast and talked about what he called the Olodo Uprising. The moment he said those words, social media exploded. Some people immediately agreed with him, while others came out to defend TikTok creators, especially Peller, whose name YCee mentioned during the conversation. Now, before we even go into this, let's first understand what Olodo means. See, in Nigeria, that slang Olodo doesn't necessarily mean someone who didn't go to school. It usually refers to someone who is proudly ignorant, someone who doesn't care to learn, someone who celebrates not knowing things and even turns that ignorance into entertainment. You understand? So when YCee talked about an Olodo Uprising, he wasn't simply attacking one person. He was making a much bigger point. He argued that Nigeria is gradually getting to a place where intelligence isn't celebrated anymore. Instead, the loudest people, the most controversial people, and sometimes people who proudly act ignorant seem to get the biggest platforms. Haven't you guys noticed that? And honestly, when you think about it, you can understand why some people agreed with him. Now think about it. Someone can spend years studying medicine, engineer, law, yet barely anybody knows their name. Meanwhile, someone can make funny video online pretending not to know basic things and suddenly become one of the biggest stars in the country. Millions of followers, brand deals, endorsements, money, fame, everything, just name it. Now it makes you wonder, what exactly are we rewarding these days? Social media algorithm doesn't necessarily reward intelligence, they reward attention. Educational videos sometimes struggle to get a few thousand views, while someone shouting, acting silly or creating drama can get millions of views overnight. Now, that doesn't automatically make the content bad, but it does raise an important question. If younger people keep seeing that acting ignorant gets more attention than being knowledgeable, what message are we sending to the next generation? Another thing YCee touched on is how we've almost started mocking intelligence. Sometimes when somebody speaks proper English online, people say they are doing too much. If someone shares educational content, people call them boring. If someone reads books or talks about learning new things, people make jokes about them. Now, it's almost like we've created a culture where it's cooler to know less than to know more. But here's where the conversation gets really, really interesting. A lot of Nigerians completely disagreed with YCee, and honestly, I understand their points too. People started asking a very simple question. What exactly has education done for Nigerians? For many Nigerians. Thousands of graduates finish university every single year. Some spend 4, 5 or even 6 years in school. After graduation, they search for jobs for years. Some eventually get jobs paying salaries that can barely cover transportation and feeding. Meanwhile, a content creator can make that same amount in a single live stream. So people began saying, don't blame young Nigerians for chasing opportunities online. Blame the system that has made education feel less rewarding. And to be very fair, they have a point. Nigeria is a country where many intelligent people are unemployed. Why some entertainers earn in 1 month what a graduate may not earn in a year? So if a young person sees that reality, can we really blame them for choosing content creation? Or choosing to become an Olodo, like YCee would call the person? Then Peller responded. He basically questioned why YCee mentioned his name at all and suggested that he was being unfairly singled out. And honestly, that's another conversation entirely, because Peller didn't force anybody to watch his videos. Nobody wakes up every morning and says, today I must watch Peller. Millions of people voluntarily click on his content because they enjoyed it. So if people weren't watching, he wouldn't be popular. So is the real problem. Is it Peller, or is it the audience that keep making this type of content to go viral? That's another question we have to ask ourselves at this point. Then Jarvis also entered the conversation, arguing that many educated Nigerians are now becoming content creators because there simply aren't enough opportunities in the traditional job market. Again, that's a valid point. Creating content is not as easy as some people think or make it look. It takes creativity, consistency, editing, skills, marketing, branding yourself, and business knowledge. So content creation is real work. So maybe the problem isn't content creators. Maybe the problem is what kind of content gets rewarded. Personally, I think both sides have made valid arguments. YCee is right to worry about a culture where ignorance is celebrated instead of corrected. There is nothing wrong with making people laugh, but there is difference between comedy and glorifying ignorance. At the same time, the people defending Peller are also right when they say that education alone no longer guarantees success in Nigeria. We cannot expect young people to ignore opportunities that can genuinely change their lives simply because those opportunities began to exist on social media. For me, I don't think being funny automatically makes someone an Olodo. Entertainment has always existed. Every generation has had comedians, actors, and entertainers. The real danger begins when ignorance itself becomes the entertainment. There's a difference between acting silly for comedy and encouraging people to believe that knowledge no longer matters. At the same time, we also need to stop acting as if going to school is the only measure of intelligence. Some people never really completed university but built successful businesses. Some graduates have degrees but still struggle with basic problem solving. Education is important, so don't get me wrong, but wisdom, creativity, and practical skills, they all matter too. Maybe the biggest issue isn't YCee. Maybe it's not even Peller. Maybe it's the society we've created. A society where attention often pays better than expertise. A society where many graduates are frustrated. A society where people are simply trying to survive however they can. So perhaps this isn't really an Olodo uprising. Maybe it's a survival uprising. People are following wherever the opportunities exist. And at the end of the day, I think Nigeria needs both. We need entertainers who make us laugh after stressful days. But we also need people who inspire us to learn, grow, and become better versions of ourselves. The internet is very powerful. It can educate people, it can inspire people, it can entertain people all at the same time. However, the question is, what kind of content are we choosing to reward? See, I really want to hear from you people. Do we agree with YCee that Nigeria is experiencing an Olodo uprising? Or do we think that Peller was unfairly targeted? Or maybe do we even believe that this conversation is actually exposing a much bigger problem about unemployment, education, and the kind of society we've become? I want us to have respectful conversations in the comment section, because this is one debate where I honestly think there are valid points on both sides. Get as we won't take reason. There are points on both sides that if you start dragging it all out like this, we'll know. You understand? And another thing too, sometimes, let me tell you the whole another truth or another side to this thing is that it is not even easy to be an Olodo uprising. You understand? There are a lot of Olodos out on the street that don't have the sense or the mental power to actually come on social media and act those things out. You understand? For me, when anybody acts stupid or creates funny content or something stupid or Olodo, in quotes, on social media, I just know that person is acting. And it takes a lot of strength, effort, courage, confidence, even intelligence to actually come up with those things. You understand? The funny thing, or do I say rather, the thing is that all of us cannot do the same thing at the same time. What you call funny might not be what I call funny. I know some people that like to watch people roll on the floor, do very silly, stupid things, and they think it's very funny. Oh my God, they laugh, funny, I got that, and it's funny to them. Me, on the other hand, the kind of things I call funny is when we are having intelligent conversations, and somehow inside the conversation you jokingly chip in a joke. And I can tell, I can tell that that's a joke, and it becomes very funny to me and intriguing to me. You understand? Now I won't use my own kind of joke or what I call funny to judge what other people call funny. You understand? So yes, there might really be an Olodo uprising, but then who are we to blame? Who do we actually blame? You get, who do we blame? YCee, what he said made a lot of sense, but the only place where I think Nigerians got triggered and everybody had to start saying their mind was when he mentioned names. I mean, he could have made his point without calling names, but him calling names felt like if Peller actually feels targeted, then he has a right to feel that way. You understand? I mean, YCee could have just made his point without calling anybody's name. So now that he has already called or mentioned somebody's name, that person has a right to reply. And before you know it, the social media is blasting. Anyways, what do you guys have to say? Please say it in the comment section.
You might get A in academics but D in life. That is a sign of an Olodo. You might have A in academics but D in life. Why can't you have A in academics and A in life? Are you afraid of being good in both? You never see people who actually have A in academics and A in life come out to say nonsense like this. They'll be like, oh yes, I was very good in school and I also did well in life. But you say that you have A in academics, you are just broken. Come out and tell us that you failed in school. We understand. School is difficult. Which one is it's not be bad to the get first class, so you sabi, but you sabi. It's always the dull ones. And funny enough, the ones that are even making their statements have not even yet made it in life. They have not even made it in life. I used to be a C-class student. Now I'm the multi-millionaire. There are still people who were A-class students and are still multi-millionaires. Okay? Be good in both. Rubbish. We try to make it feel like as if people should not study. You think it's easy to be good academically. You think it's easy to study your books and gain knowledge. You think it's easy. You think they should go and fraud like you.
Me that went to school, I graduate. As government not gonna give us work now, what do you expect us to do? What do you expect us to do, sir?